Welcome to the series of the Rebbe's Farbrengens. In this episode, we will be learning the Farbrengen of Yud Gimel Tammuz, Tavshin Yud Beis 13 Tammuz 5712. Please subscribe, like, and share this podcast and this episode with family and friends, helping spread the Rebbe's Torah, Hafotzas Hamayonet Chutza. Now let's begin. Everything that happens that we can relate to originates and comes from our forefathers, from the Avos. Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov resemble Chesed, Gvura, and Tiferes, which is kindness. Gvura, we should say, was more strength, and Tiferes, which is a combination of both of them. What we said earlier about a skula, comes from the word of segel. Segel is a nekuda, which means a way of how we can pronounce certain words. And it is one dot, and a dot on the bottom, which refers to chesed, gvura, and tiferes. That's one way. There's another nikuda, which is called a shuruk, which is 1, 2, and 3, one on top of the other. What is the difference between them, and how does that relate to our personal life? The shuruk, which is 1, 2, and 3, resembles that we have to go in stages. We cannot be higher than nature, higher than our intellect. We have to go things by nature. But the segel, it is combining everything together. That when a person is kind, he can also have tiferes. He can also have gevura. It's not just one thing that needs to go and happen. What, in other words, what is that? Elikus, godliness, Torah, and mitzvahs. All these things is not in a way of a shuruk, it's a way of a segel. It's in a way that we could be doing one and the other at the same time. It's not that if we're involved in one, we cannot be involved in the other one. We can be involved, all of them, at the same time. This was part of the chidushim, of the things that happened at the time of Matan Torah. In other words, there's a famous phrase in Chassidus, and that is about the nimna hadam nois. In other words, that we can have two things happening at the same time, and we're not limited to one. Was the first of all the Avos, which we resemble, that was Abraham, which we know that he was Echad and Yechidi. He was the only one in the world that recognized Hashem. And he was the one that called out to the other people, that made others call out to Hashem. He was the one that opened up all the channels for us to connect to Hashem in a way which is not limited to this world. Something which is much higher than this world. Something which is not limited. There's a phrasing in Gemara that says like this: what is a skula? We're talking about school all the time. What actually is that? So the Gemara brings down two things as to what that skula is. The first one is a Sefer Torah, and the other one is the dates from a palm tree. What's the idea of a Sefer Torah? Or what's the idea of a skula in general? It is something which is hidden, things that we keep for the other at special times, not something that we're always necessarily using at any given time. We're trying to use it only in special times, only in times that these things need to come out. We know that our Torah and mitzvahs that we do in this world, it says it is kemunach bekufsa, that it's being put into a box. For when? For the time of Mashiach, for the time for it to come and revealed. It says kimunach bekufsa. It's like it's put into the box. In other words, that in this world, the schar and the things that we can relate to from our Torah and mitzvahs is only a little bit of what will actually go and be at the time of Mashiach. But the ultimate schar will be by the time of Mashiach. That's why it says kimunach with the chaf before that translates it that it's only like, but not the actual, and we'll get the fullness by Mashiach. Now, when it comes to learning Torah, we need to have a few conditions or things that are involved in Torah. Like a person needs to, number one, know what he's learning. He has to learn lishma for learning. He also needs to have ava and yira, love and fear, while he needs to go and learn to make his learning valuable. And as you know, that when a person may not at the moment be doing it 100% lishma, but it will eventually get him to actually go and learn lishma. And what is the second? This is the idea of Torah, the Sefer Torah, things that are, it's not always being used. What is the second interpretation of the dates from a palm tree? The dates on the palm tree are similar to a lulav. What's a lulav? It's spelled lamed vav, lamed vez, which translates that a date which is one has one heart. So too, us Yidden, we all have that heart for Hashem, that heart for God. That it's our lave of us are going to be loy for Him. It's which translate as the lulav, which is also the thing which are used during the times of Sukkot. And this is our pintalayid, our inner Jewishness that we have to go only for Hashem. And then eventually, it will eventually come out to be revealed into the world. Now, this is all connected to the days of Yud Beis and Yud Gimel Tam, which we were discussing until now, and which we're going to continue to be discussing. How these are the days of school, because just like we said, who gives us the strength when it comes to school? Who is that? That is Avram Avinu and Yitzchak Avinu and Yaakov Avinu, all of the others. Who gave it to us here at the time of Yud Beis and Gimel Tammuz? That was the Friedrich Rebbe. The Friedrich Rebbe went on this Mesiras Nefesh to even give up his life for what he was doing, spreading all that, the Jewishness around Russia at the time and all really throughout the whole world. He was like, as we say, the feet go after the head. We are just, who's the head? Who's the Nasi? That's the Friedrich Rebbe. We are just like the feet, and we are going after that, and gave us, through what the Friedrich Rebbe did, is giving us the strength. And to sum up this entire Sikha, and really this entire Farbringen, is all discussing how we cannot be living in this world. We have to be living with a mindset higher than this world. Because that is ultimately what Mesiras Nefesh is. And that's what Yud Beis and Yud Gimel Tammuz is. Because that's what the Friedrich Rebbe was. The Friedrich Rebbe, what he did wasn't that way. And all the Rebbes did things in that way. And these are special days, and days that we can ask for whatever we want. And we should use out these days through learning and doing things in a way of Lamaila, Miderech HaTeva, Begashmis, or V'Ruchnius. And the Rebbe finished this Sikha with saying the Rebbe's Niggin, which was Samuch HaNafshi, and then we will continue in next episode. We just finished now the second Sikha of the Farbringen, and stay tuned to hear more.